Hi, Divine Feminines, Divine anybody that comes across this. This is going to be another video, a part of the segment Amanda's Advice. I channel messages through art, but I also channel messages through wisdom. I was born on a Wednesday, that makes Wednesday wisdom, and Mercury is represented by the Magician. The Magician is the day of Wednesday, and it's also communication. So I'm here to communicate my thoughts, to communicate my downloads, to communicate, to channel in that form. This could be conversation starters, this could be anything that's weighing on me, and I also value the opinions outside of me, so I aim to communicate and for you to communicate back. I welcome so much, and I hope you get so much from these videos. Without further ado, what we're going to talk about today is, what if we have mental illness all wrong? What if we have autism all wrong? It's like disabilities, essentially. Or it could also be any health problem that involves the brain, because even depression is considered a disability. So what initially sparked this conversation, or sparked this download, it was like the Six of Cups. Lately, even months ago, I was reverting back to my childhood. I used to have epilepsy, but it only happened when I went to sleep. I didn't have seizures during the day. It didn't really bother me during the day, but as soon as I went to sleep, it was like my subconscious was attacking me. And that's just how I view it right now. And I was getting this comparison, this scenario out of nowhere. You know how you can upgrade or update your computer, your laptop, even when you're not using it? It's like that's what my brain was doing. Like, this is my spiritual take, spiritual perspective, or spiritual theory on some of these things. It felt like my brain was literally being upgraded when I wasn't using it. And obviously when you actually need your brain, when you need to use your laptop, you don't want it to update because that's just in the way, that's an inconvenience. It's like it was happening without me knowing it. And I was also too young to understand. That's furthermore proof. And then I realized after it disappeared, I was doing better in school. Like, I already did good in school, but it didn't harm me. It was like it came, I experienced it, and it left. And sometimes that's what people experience with their own disabilities. Like, someone that starts out depressed suddenly isn't anymore. It's like, what if depression is an entity holding on to you? What if depression is just situational? I know a lot of tarot readers, a lot of spiritualists have those stories of how depression, their disability, led them to their career, led them to their calling. It's like you experienced it just to benefit from it. It's like, what if we just have it all wrong? What if we're just misunderstanding people? This also applies to autism. I'm a firm believer that autistic people are just much smarter and, once again, in tune more than us. Because if you look at them, like, they usually do very well in school. It's just they communicate differently. They pick up on things differently, and what's so wrong about that? It's almost like it's man-made, made up, just like time. Does it really matter how people choose to learn or what they choose to do? It's like schizophrenia. I'm not saying this as hearing things, being clairaudient and stuff like that, but what if they can actually see, what if they're actually in tune to other dimensions that we are not? So what they're seeing is actually real. They were actually just like blessed or cursed, depends on how you look at it, with a gift. And they look crazy to outsiders. It's like someone looking at a wall. That's what I was picturing, the scenario of like someone looking at a blank wall, talking to a wall, and the person next to them is like, there's no one there. It's like you're talking to a wall, you're wasting your time. But then to the person with schizophrenia, it's like, no, I'm looking at a spirit, I'm seeing things, and I don't know why. So this also could apply to ADHD, ADD, just anything that involves the brain. It's the same thing as I just said. And when I would have seizures afterwards, it's kind of weird, but it's like in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, I don't know if I already mentioned this in the beginning, but remember when he had no bones left and his arm was just hanging like this? It was like my arm was paralyzed. I was paralyzed after every seizure I woke up from. And you know that jolt to wake feeling that happens? That's what would happen whenever I was about to have one. And to this day, every time I jolt to wake, where it's like that sky falling thing, I'm like, oh my god. It reminds me of the past. It reminds me of what I endured. And we don't have an answer for it to this day. They think it might have been an oxygen thing, but I don't believe that. Because I didn't really have a breathing problem. Nothing of that sort. Ooh, and I also in the past channeled messages like with Matilda, Dumbo. You could look at people like that, look at characters in movies like that. It's like something that was supposed to be a disability, something they were made fun of for, because people with disabilities are often bullied. The only problem really lies with what we make up in our heads. It's like, why are we segregating people? Why do we have to look at them like they're different? It's like how we all learn differently. I just don't get it. We're not all supposed to see the same things anyway. But yeah, I would often channel that. It's like depression, anxiety as something that usually is a part of something. I see it all the time with so many special, unique people. Like, seriously, if anything happened to you, like with my example, it's like look deeply into that. It's like a disability or a health problem that came and passed with like no explanation. Or it's like, what's your spiritual take? What's your spiritual theory on why that occurred? It's like, look deeper at it. And I really like I don't know why that came to me. I really like the comparison of the computer updating when you're not using it. It's like, why did that have to happen when I was falling asleep? My subconscious was like prepping. It didn't affect me at all like it should have. It's much to think about. I think I might be missing certain things I wanted to touch up on, but I don't want to make this long in the first place. I think you guys get the idea. It's more messages to come, more art to come. I really appreciate you guys for taking the time to even listen, to understand. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm also grateful for anything you might say to add to this. It's like, what's your experience? What have you went through that you don't really have an explanation for? So like, what if things are much more deeper than we are seeing at a superficial level? So glad I finally got to talk about this, because it all started with like my experience, and I'm like, wait, so many things that are probably looked at or viewed as the wrong thing. But then again, it's just a theory. It's good to theorize. It's good to come up with your own conclusions sometimes. I did an art channeled message before, and like everything you were taught is a lie. It's like, come to your own conclusions, as crazy as they might seem. Okay guys, that's the end of Amanda's advice for now. Please like, subscribe, support the channel in any way you can, and yeah, bye.